Right, we're on. Today we're talking driver. Do you struggle with distance with your driver? Would you like some instant power? Well, that's today's chat. That's what we're going to do today. So many people come to me saying they've lost distance or they want more distance and they're not getting the benefit from their number one wood. Today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we can transfer power from one source to another source to make sure we get instant power. To make sure you guys get the most out of your number one club. It's the big dog, it's the club in the bag that we all want to hit further. Today it's getting addressed. Sit back, enjoy, then go and graft, work on this, and leave comments below. Let me know how you get on. Do you hit the ball further after this? Interesting stuff. So here we go, instant power with driver. Before we start though, please click the subscribe button. It's free of charge to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification button, that gives you instant notifications of all my videos, and of course the thumbs up button. YouTube loves that. So we're talking instant power with driver. I mean, this club, I've got an X-Flex Ping G400 Max, 10.5 degrees. So launches high, but the stiff shaft brings it down. But we're looking to try and get power from a club. Getting fitted is important. Getting your driver fitted, or at least try a few golf clubs. Try some clubs on your normal course. Take a demo club out, compare it to your driver. Even from that, you can find one that suits you. It doesn't have to be perfectly fitted, but certainly something that gains distance or gains feeling or gains accuracy, brings in dispersion. Go out there, find that demo club, then work from there. Nice. So to gain instant power with your driver, one thing we must do when we take the club back, the right hip, we're going to put the power into the right hip. Body turns, the right hip goes up. So your right hip there is higher than my left hip. At the top of my backswing, get the right hip high. A nice high right hip, which means you've turned, you've got into it, you've gained power that you can store at the top of your backswing with a high right hip. So important. Back, right hip high. So there's a tilt in the hips. My right hip is clearly higher than my left there. The last thing we want to do, and I mean this is actually the last thing you want to do, you do not want to slide the hips back. It's just too funky. But so many people do that. In order to get distance, they slide the hips back. So they slide this action, going backwards, so the hips stay kind of level. They're moving themselves off the golf ball. And it's a long way to get back to the golf ball. Another thing that can happen is the reverse hip turns, so they get to the top up here, and then the hips go this way. So we've really not got the hips working at all there, and then we try and reverse it on the way down. Not going to happen. Get that right hip high. Feel this action. Feel the right hip going up, and then we can transfer that to the left hip on the way down. So a little drill to do, just as I'm doing there just now. Club there. Imagine you're pulling a bit of rope. Imagine there's a piece of rope round something there, and you're trying to pull it in both directions, if you like. So up, and then down. Up, down. Right hip high. Left hip high, that's where we're going. But to begin with, right hip high, and then from there, if you get the right hip high, you've got lots of purchase to give back to the golf ball. I'm not saying you don't have to worry about getting the left hip high on the way through. Of course, that's vitally important, but getting the right hip high, you've got head start. If the right hip doesn't get high, how can the left hip get high? How's that going to work? You have to get it up to bring it down, to bring it up again. Right hip high. Up, right hip high. When my right hip's high, what do I feel? I feel left bend. Left bend, right hip goes high. Right bend, left hip goes high. Starting to paint that picture, eh? Right hip high, and then from there I've got lots I can give back through to the golf ball. So not even thinking about the left hip, just right hip high, and then explode back to golf ball. From there, lots of power, instant power, because I've managed to store up that power into the right hip. Never a level hip, right hip high, never level. And never the reverse hip, never. Why would anybody, why? Just why? That, get that high. Feel the flexion on the left side and extension on the right side as that right hip's gone high. Then we need to transfer that to the left. So right hip gets high, left hips get high. Right hip high, left hip high. So I start to stand up through the shot as I play it. So I'm transferring the energy from my right hip down to the golf ball and then back up to the left hip. So that is power. That is instant power. There's loads of things going on. There's loads of turning, there's loads of torque, there's loads of rotation, there's loads of centripetal force. All these things pulling you through there, pulling the club away from the golf ball. But really your focus, your simple thought there is right hip high. Transfer that right hip high to a left hip high. Because you can't go from right hip to left hip laterally. It has to go down and back up. Because the right hip and the left hip can't be high at the same time. So right hip going down to level forces the left hip back up. So right hip high, right hip down, which pushes left hip up. Right hip high, left hip high. Or right hip high to right hip down. Byproduct of that, left hip goes up. Here we go. Right hip high, left hip high. Right hip high, left hip high. Right hip high, left hip high. Right high, left high. On the way through, left high, left hip is clearly higher than right there. Brilliant. Instant power. Let's do it. Right hip high, left hip high. Purely thinking about the hips. Purely thinking about hip rotation, hip action, what the hips do to give me the power. Because all of a sudden now I'm using these large muscles. I've got zero muscles up there and zero muscles up here. Not zero, well, but I've got lots of muscles in my legs. I do a lot of running, so if my lower half of my body is much stronger than my upper half. Most folk are the same, so if I can get the lower half of the body working to swing the golf club, instant power. Right hip high, left hip high. Brilliant. Take your practice swing, grip halfway down your club, down on the shaft. Just take little ones and just feel, just watch and be aware of what's going to happen with the hips. Just there. So I can feel right hip high, I can feel transferring to left hip high. If I go maybe side on, right hip gets high, so left hip low, left hip high. Just little short ones to feel how the body reacts. And it does, it feels quite undulating if you like. Right hip high, left hip high. Loads of little short drills like that and you're on the right track to instant power with your driver. Instant power with this guy. So thanks very much for watching. I've got another video coming up next week. If you've subscribed to the channel, you'll be aware that I put content out here twice a week now. And thank you very much if you've subscribed, really appreciate that. If you've not subscribed, now's the chance for instant power. And also, as I say, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos, and the thumbs up shares it around YouTube. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.